Russian flying Skynet C-70 Hunter, new 5th generation combat drone with AI. C-70 Hunter with a flat nozzle is a new Russian attack drone. Aerodynamic scheme flying wing. The weight of the machine is more than 20 tons. A major breakthrough is first of all development is of software and the introduction of artificial intelligence elements into the machine's control circuit. And this is the main secret of the Hunter. The aerodynamic scheme flying wing is not a secret. The secret is the value effective dispersion area. This value determines the radar visibility of the machine. The secret and design features of the flat engine nozzle will also reduce the visibility of the aircraft. But the main thing of the features and principles of artificial intelligence implemented in the machine, which has, without exaggeration, unique capabilities. This developed specialized target equipment which just allow this functionality to provide functionality. The range of goals and tasks that are set before the heavy strike Hunter is very wide. Here and additional reconnaissance targets and barraging in stealth mode, working in tandem with fighters and fighter bombers, and building a chain of data exchange, as well as fight and target engagement in fully automatic mode and work under the control of the operator at the considerable distance in real time. Almost all of these tasks were tested in the first Hunter, an airplane demonstrator. It was also the first test the very elements of artificial intelligence, the capabilities of which had not only significantly progressed by the time the pre-production machine has rolled out. It had changed fundamentally in many respects. The results in the world's first machine that can think on the basis of accumulated of stored facts. Artificial intelligence in the capabilities of the most discussed topics in the world today. The first Hunter provides the corrections of the decision of choice of material from which it is made, carbon fiber. The fabric is woven from it according to a special scheme. A multi-layer one-piece aerodynamic circuit outline is out of the fabric. Then the patterns are impregnated with a special binder that determines the rigidity of the structure, after which the future Hunter is sent a special autoclave. Then the patterns are baked. Work of the hem of weighting threads and most importantly on the binder began almost 40 years ago. If we talk about Hunter, it corresponds to the third generation completely. First of all, in terms of stealth. As for the ability to think and analyze the situation, this is already the first step into the next, sixth generation. As engineers and designers say, it is a blueprint of the future. Second, absolutely necessary feature and ability is the ability of self-learn, using one's own machine experience. That is, program should be such that allows you to constantly improve your skills and abilities, exactly program skills. And these skills are not reduced to the skills of the separate mechanism, a separate machine, a separate aircraft. This program collects the common experience of the entry fleet, and thus the experience of all becomes the experience of everyone. Now the Hunter will be taught to fly. First, the operator will teach it to start the engine, then to taxi, then to run up the runway and make the first hops. Then will begin short approaches and landings. All this will be stored in the machine's memory. Then the flight, and then all this machine memory will simply be transferred to the next serial airplane. Then there are a lot of them, they will themselves exchange new of just received information, filling the empty clusters of machine memory with new facts. The fact the machine can think was provided by the test of the first version of C-70. In the main flight test center there, the first aircraft demonstrator worked for almost a year. It was taught to read maps and strike a clearly defined target, to hide under the belly of the escort aircraft, observing the minimum vertical interval, tuning on radar screens into a single, almost invisible point to become the leader and go ahead of the group of additional reconnaissance, search and corrections of the locations of the target, transmitting to the accompanying fighter bombers its new of changed coordinates of the group's ground. The testers also had one more task to test on the Hunter, the very principle of operation of the flying wing scheme, which is used in Russia for the first time. This was already done in the interest of the Tupolev Design Bureau, which is now working on the promotion complex of long-range aviation. The new strategist will also be made according to the same aerodynamic scheme. So, the first stage has been passed. Now serial production and arming. Friends, as you can hear, the voiceover in English is given to me not easy. But I try for you. Subscribe to the channel, will help its promotion. Thank you.
The most expensive airplane in aviation history, a fantastic flying saucer capable of overcoming any air defense system and delivering a deadly blow to the heart of the enemy. Meet today's hero, the B-2 Spirit strategic stealth bomber. The hot breath of the Cold War. A ghost plane born from the inflamed imagination of SDI hoaxers. A superhero left without a superenemy. So many mysterious myths, legends, and outright misconceptions swirl around the B-2 that it's impossible to determine what this plane is really about. A formidable winged vessel or a useless wonderwaff? But all that is secret will eventually become known. In 15 years of B-2 stealth bomber operations, enough information has leaked into the open press to draw certain conclusions about these aircraft. It is correctly noted that the stealth bomber's appearance seems borrowed from science fiction. Seen from the ground, the Spirit resembles a rushing black sheet, a flying manta ray.
A fantastic interstellar craft.
In profile, it is a true flying saucer, flat, sleek, and seemingly flattened by a sledgehammer blow, without the familiar fuselage and tail. Impressive. The strange shape of the aircraft is simply the flying wing aerodynamic layout, known long before the American stealth planes appeared. This layout has its own characteristics, advantages, and disadvantages. The lack of a tail does not at all prevent the flying wing from making turns and pirouettes. Contrary to a common misconception, aircraft do not change course primarily with the help of a vertical rudder. It only plays an auxiliary role. The main task of the fin is to stabilize the flight. The turn is always performed by banking the aircraft. In this case, the lift on the lower wing decreases, and on the upper wing it increases, resulting in the upper wing swinging the aircraft in the desired direction. Wing loading, one of the most important parameters in aviation. The lower the kg per square meter of surface, the easier it is for the wing to turn the aircraft. Accordingly, maneuverability is improved. The flying wing is great at doing pirouettes, but has no stability on course. The lack of a vertical fin makes itself felt. Controlling the B-2 would be impossible without the use of automation and an electronic flight control system. Numerous sensors constantly monitor the aircraft's position in space and output corrective impulses to the wing mechanization elements every second. It is fair to say that few modern aircraft can be manually piloted. The same statically unstable Su-27 is also impossible to fly without the help of automation. A similar aircraft existed 70 years ago, the German fighter-bomber project, Horten 229. The Horten brothers chose this layout based on their personal preferences. A smooth, streamlined wing aircraft completely matched their ideas about a high-speed jet bomber. It unexpectedly turned out that the 229 had another, no less important quality: reduced visibility to enemy radars. It is possible that the specialists of the Northrop Corporation were inspired by the work of their German colleagues. The Pentagon spent $2 billion on an aircraft that cannot employ cruise missiles. Incredible! How could this have happened? American capitalists are pragmatic people. They will scrutinize every cent before investing it in a project. The strategic stealth bomber was under special scrutiny by Congress, and at first seemed like a fully justified decision with fantastic prospects. A mission that would require 50 to 60 conventional aircraft, attack, escort fighters, can be accomplished by just 2 stealth machines. The savings are obvious. The catch is that American congressmen and the military fell victim to deception, whether accidental or deliberate is irrelevant. Lectures on the creation of an inconspicuous aircraft were repeatedly given to people not too versed in radio engineering and the diffraction of electromagnetic waves. The luminaries of American science vied with each other in promising the practical implementation of such a project, a practically undetectable and invulnerable aircraft that does not require an escort or support assets. Flat shapes, lack of a vertical fin, widespread use of radar-absorbing materials, zigzag joints of parts. The huge plane appears on radar as a tiny bird. However, it's not that simple. The bomber's low visibility does not guarantee the safety of the B-2. According to eyewitnesses, the plane has been observed in thermal imagers at international air shows, and from some angles the Spirit glows noticeably in the IR range. Finally, the pilot of an enemy fighter can visually detect the Spirit. In this case, the helpless bomber is doomed. The risk of being detected, and therefore destroyed, remains high. No one in their right mind would send a B-2 Spirit alone into the engagement zone of S-300 SAMs or enemy fighters. Even where the resistance of the Air Force and air defense of the adversary is minimized, Afghanistan, Libya, regular F-16s do just fine. The superhero is too bored in such conditions. The U.S. Air Force received a conventional bomb carrier at an inflated price. No doubt, this is a serious aircraft capable of carrying 8,227 kilograms bombs on board and making a combat sortie from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri to Afghanistan and back, with a duration of 50 hours, including air-to-air refueling. If one disregards its debatable low visibility and incredible cost, the B-2 is not inferior to its legendary predecessor, the B-52 Stratofortress. The operating costs of the stealth bomber are much higher than any of the listed machines. The B-2 can only be based in a special hangar with an artificially maintained microclimate. Otherwise, ultraviolet radiation will damage the aircraft's radar-absorbing coating. There are not many airfields on Earth where long-term B-2 deployment is possible. According to official data, the appropriate infrastructure exists only at the Whiteman, U.S. territory, Anderson, Guam, Pacific Ocean, and Diego Garcia, Chagos Archipelago, 500 miles south of the Seychelles, Indian Ocean, air bases. The most intriguing point. The maximum combat load of the stealth bomber reaches 23 tons. After modernization, an increase to 27 tons is expected. However, bombs cannot be poured into the bomb bay like concrete. In practice, the real combat load of the B-2 is within 18 tons. Regarding the comparison of the B-2 with its contemporary, the supersonic strategic bomber B-1B Lancer, there is no doubt. The Lancer looks more preferable. The B-1B has almost twice the combat load, 30-plus tons in internal bomb bays, not counting external weapon stations, can reach supersonic speeds, and has the ability to carry additional targeting equipment, Sniper XR pods for high-altitude bombing. The Lancer design also widely employs stealth technologies, while the B-1B costs 5 times less. The history of the B-2 bomber is a story of how not to make aircraft. Despite some propaganda role, testing of new technologies, and limited participation in military conflicts, these spirits have done more damage to the U.S. budget than the Pentagon's opponents. The aircraft turned out to be exceptionally expensive. The cost of each of the 21 built exceeded $2 billion in 1997 prices, and ineffective in the conditions of modern local conflicts.